Welcome to the DES race here in the Next Gen Series, the Dirty Bowl 125 at the Milwaukee Mile. We got a lot of Next Gen cars out here running this mile-long track. It's going to be an interesting one. People's going to have to pay attention to the brake wear and tires out here as we're about to have a great time here running this race. I'm excited for it. I'm going to be joined with Hunter Davis in the broadcast booth. And then we've got Damon O'Brien of Demon Broadcasting. He's going to be the one handling all the controls and everything there. We also got Earl here. He's hanging out. He's going to help us out a tiny bit. So it's going to be a great time here tonight, everybody.
Absolutely, it is, Edwin. This is going to be an interesting race, right? The Milwaukee Mile is a very difficult track, drives like a short track, so I'm excited to see who's going to make their way to the front.
Oh, yes, it's going to be great. This is the first race of our playoffs that we have going on where Tom Ringer is the points leader, followed by Brandon Hinton, Ben Pivot, Christian Clark, Zach Reichel, Todd Perrant, Craig Knoll, Mark Holloway, Thomas Long, and Max Denda. And then we got Christian Clark here in the booth who is going to be doing a pre-race interview here. Christian, how do you feel about the track out there?
Man, I tell you what, I'm super excited. I love this track and playoffs. Gonna be fun. Gonna be some good racing out there.
Hey,
Yeah,
Christian,
ahead,
thanks for joining us. So one thing I wanted to bring up, right, is the Milwaukee Mile, although it is a mile track, it still drives like a short track, right, in terms of corner speed, corner exit. What do you think is going to be your biggest benefactor to making it to the end of this race?
Well, I've done a bunch of green flag laps here. You know, I've been practicing throughout the week and stuff, and I think I figured out a good way to save tires. I'm not going to be the fastest car out there, but I mean, if I can use that to my advantage, and that's what I'm going to have to do. These turns are not banked; they're flat, so it's just really bad on tires.
All right, Christian, man. I think it's going to be an interesting, very technical race for you, man. I'm excited to watch your car run around this track in that 99. It's going to be a great time. You have a good race, man. Appreciate you coming here for a pre-race interview, and have a good run out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, I'm back when we're talking to y'all at the end of the race.
Good luck, Christian.
So, Hunter, I think the Milwaukee Mile is a very technical track, okay? It's a mile-long track, but it does have some interesting braking points, long corners. It's very evenly designed, but it's a tough track to run. How do you feel about it?
I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right? So the Milwaukee Mile, although it is a mile long, like I said, it does drive like a short track. So your corner entry speed to center of corner speed is going to be extremely important in how these guys conserve tires. So you'll watch as they drive in. If they overshoot the corner, they're going to slide up high, and then they're going to be burning that right rear, trying to bring it back to the bottom.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one. I agree with you, man. You're a more technical guy than I am, so you definitely know how it is. That corner exit speed, I went out there and practiced a little bit. My corner entry speed was too high, and it would cause me to run all the way up to the wall and would ruin my straightaways. So the way I kind of look at it is it's two long corners and two drag strips. So that's what makes it tough.
I mean, yeah, you're like I said, you're absolutely right. This is a very interesting track, right? It's one of a kind. One thing I've kind of a history buff when it comes to racing, so one thing I kind of found interesting about this track is it's been ran since 1903 every year except during World War II. I always just found that interesting. And looking at our starting lineup for tonight, starting in your pole position in the 68 car, Tom Ringer, and to his outside, the 27 of Brandon Hinton. Starting in P3, Ben Kuhn in that 40 machine, to his outside, the 51 of Jonathan Green. Starting in 5th, the 56 of Mark Holloway, and to his outside, the 67 of Charles Connor. Right behind them, starting in 7th, Craig Knoll in the 63 and the 8 of Zach Reichel. Starting in P9, we got the 59 of Matthew Tennant and the 20 of Marcus Wisniewski. Row 6, we got the 43 of Hunter Cox and the 23 of Thomas Long. And starting in 13th position, the 99 of Christian Clark. And that'll round up our starting grid for today's race.
Let's talk about that. We got an interesting field of cars out here. A lot of guys who are looking to, get a head start on the playoffs. They do have one drop race, but they do have to pay attention to what they're doing right now, and it's going to be a real interesting one.
Absolutely. I mean, as we're watching practice out there, a lot of these guys are, out there running solo, and this track's going to drive a lot difference once they get into traffic. When you're driving solo, you can kind of take basically whatever line you want. If you want to have a really late entry, you can do it. But when you're side by side and somebody's pinching the other guy, it's going to make for some interesting racing out there.
Oh, yeah, they're going to have to battle, tire attrition, corner entry, all kinds of things. I'm hoping this isn't like how when we ran Gateway, but this is a lot of very skilled guys here. They know what they're doing. They've ran a season in these cars. They've paid attention to them. So they're looking to do it as, we've got defending, I think he has 4 wins. Ben Pivot, he's out there. Tom Ringer, he's always a front runner. Brandon Hinton, he's been knocking on the door for a race win for a long time. I would have to say, like, one of the guys that I'm really looking forward to watching race would be Mark Holloway. That guy's pretty consistent as long as he can get through the first couple laps. I mean, he's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, no, I mean, we got Tom Ringer starting the pole. He's our regular season NextGen champion. I think we have 7 of the 10 playoff drivers out there tonight, so they're going to be looking to call their way up to the front and gain as much points as they can, right? It looks like the field is going to start stacking up as the pace car pulls off, and we're taking the green flag. '27 of Brandon Hinton with a huge jump on the outside. Tom Ringer slides it back into the corner.
Ooh, it looked like Brandon Hinton got a little loose, and now he's in a 3-wide situation there in the back. That's going to be tough on him.
And that's the last thing you want to see. We have 125 laps here tonight. No stage breaks. If I were in that position, I would want to avoid all 3 wide at all cost.
Oh yeah, and it's looking like he's backing off. He's understanding it's a long race. He's going to just kind of let the positions go as he's got Charles Connor behind him and Jonathan Green right there with him. He's going to pay attention to what he's doing as Ben Kuhn settles into that 2nd place position. He's going to try and chase down Tom Ringer.
Yeah, looking at the back of the pack, they were taking it 3 wide there for a little bit. It seems like they're kind of starting to single file out a little bit, settle in.
Oh, yeah, as we got Christian Clark running up high, so is Thomas Long. They're up there with Zachary Reichel, and I believe that's the 43 of Hunter Cox back there with them as well.
Look at the 40 of Ben Kuhn.
59 into the 99. They pushed up off the corner. That is not what the 99 wanted, as he is 4th place in the playoff points. It looks like they just overcooked the corner a little bit.
So the good thing for the 99 is we do have 2 fast repairs here. Unfortunately, he may have to use one, but at least that'll allow him to get back onto the track and keep racing.
Well, he kept that car in motion, so he might try to repair that damage normally, but as we're taking a look at the replay, he gets into the corner. 59, yeah, he locked it up. He locked up the left rear and just kind of pushed up the track. There was really nothing he could do. The left front, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's. I mean, looking at it, right? He did definitely lock up the brakes, but that's a part of the 2 wide racing here, right? Is a lot of these guys were practicing single file where they can run whatever line they want, whatever they find the fastest. But once you start getting side by side, you're kind of playing a guessing game of what your opponent's going to do.
Now, I will say Christian Clark's a pretty nice guy. Situation like that, he's not going to get mad or anything like that. He was here in our pre-race interview. He's not going to get upset by that. He's just going to be like, okay, it happened. As Tom Ringer kind of fakes up pit road, but I think he might have passed the commitment line. Let's hope he did not. But Christian Clark's gonna be fine. He's gonna cycle through, and he's gonna get back at racing. He likes these short track runs.
Yeah, only being a few laps into the first run here, right? Do you think that's going to change Christian's strategy? Already taken off one of his fast repairs.
Uh, doesn't look like he goes down pit road. I think he's gonna accept the damage, but I do think it's gonna impact him. It's gonna hurt his race. But we are gonna head to a quick commercial break right now, and we'll come back and talk some more.
Recently, when I became deathly ill, I was able to summon an ambulance, my next-door neighbor, my family, and my doctor without picking up a telephone. I used this remote control to contact LifeCall, my 24-hour emergency medical response service. Watch. You just press this button and speak into the air and...
I'm having chest pain.
I'm calling paramedics and your family, Mr. Miller.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
We're sending help immediately, Mrs. Fletcher.
See? Protect yourself with LifeCall, and you're never alone. To get complete free information by mail about this affordable medical emergency response system, call toll-free now. LifeCall can save your life, so call to get free details by mail.
And welcome back after that quick commercial break. The pace car lights are off. We're about to take the green flag, starting at lap number 7. We got Tom Ringer still in the lead with the 40 of Ben Kuhn to his outside. Let's see who gets a good jump here.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting restart. They basically got to do the start all over again. So it's going to be really interesting to watch what happens, because these guys are getting ready. They're already talking about 98 laps to go. Be calm. Christian Clark, he's going to be wanting to claw himself back, but he's going to want to do it patiently. As Tom Ringer takes the green flag, he's going to lead Ben Kuhn, Jonathan Green, Charles Connor, who's a great short track driver. He's going to try and battle back on that outside. He gets it right up there to 40. He moves him out of the way.
40's around. Looks like he's going to avoid contact. Good job on his part, saving that out of the rest of the field.
We're went under caution. We're going to head to a commercial break now.
Ship my pants. Right here? Ship my pants, you're kidding.
You can ship your pants right here.
You hear that? I can ship my pants for free.
Wow, I just may ship my pants.
Yeah, ship your pants. Billy, you can ship your pants too.
I can't wait to ship my pants, Dad.
I just shipped my pants, and it's very convenient.
Very convenient.
I just shipped my drawers.
I just shipped my nightie.
I just shipped my bed.
If you can't find what you're looking for in store, we'll find it at Kmart.com right now and ship it to you for free.
Hunter, bring it back.
And we're going around on our pacing laps right here after that small little spin. It looks like he was able to keep it on the wall, minimize the damage, may have smoked the tires a little bit. Hopefully these pace laps will help him cool it back down so we can get back to green flag racing.
Yeah, it was just really unfortunate that that happened to him. I know he was trying to run a smooth race. He likes these kind of short track runs, but it's definitely changed up the top 5. We've got Tom Ringer, Jonathan Green, Charles Connor, Brandon Hinton, and then Hunter Cox in the top 5. So we've got some interesting collection of people. You got a Rat Fink guy leading, a TRN guy in second place, CNC in third, and then, Brandon Hinton by himself. Hunter Cox is starting his own team. So, we've got a lot of good guys right there. Mark Holloway sitting in P6. So I'm excited to see a nice green flag run. What about you, Hunter?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see how these tires come into play, right, and how people will manage their cars. I think that last incident was just kind of a part of short track racing, right? You're going to see it. It's you got a misjudged corner entry. You might get into the bumper of somebody and slide them up a little bit, but I mean, they're honestly kind of figuring out what's going to work at the end of the race, right? He gave him a small little tap, and it got him so loose he was sideways. So that may not work when it push comes to shove, and we're racing for the win here.
Looks like we've had 2 short track run-ins that have caused caution so far, but these guys are really good at what they do. They're going to figure it out, and then as we go green here, we might see a little bump and runs here and there, but I have serious faith that all these guys can hold that car and hold them.
Yeah, and I mean, props to these guys, right? These next gen cars are very difficult to drive. Having 5 gears, right, and you're going to be constantly shifting on this track as the corner speed's a little slower, and then you get onto that drag race of a straightaway.
Oh yeah, as we go green, Tom Ringer gets a nice jump. Jonathan Green is going to have to battle Charles Connor as he kind of washes up into him. Hunter Cox washes up in Brandon Hinton. We got battles for P2, P4 right now going on as Mark Holloway wants to stick his nose in there. Charles Connor still under Jonathan Green.
If I'm in the 51 car, Jonathan Green, right, I'm going to be testing this for end of the race. I want to see how well I can make this high line work, if I can hold with him, or if that inside line is going to prevail every time. As Charles Connor in the 67 clears.
20's around, 20 around. That is Marcus Wisnowski, but there's no caution flag, so we continue going green. Hopefully, he can get down pit road. As Charles Connor's now on Tom Ringer. It's a 3-way battle for the lead. What are you thinking, Hunter?
Oh, I'm excited to see how this plays out. Charles is very hungry to get to the front. Tom's not going to want to give it up. So this is going to be some good racing here.
I have to say this, and this is going to be an interesting thing. This expands past the Next Gen series. To my knowledge, Tom Ringer has won a DES race in, I believe, all 30 series that we run. Four behind him have never won a race. So those guys want to definitely lead some laps. They want to make themselves be known as a force to be reckoned with right now, as Jonathan Green has to concede the position to Charles Connor.
Yeah, right here, I'd be kind of trying to do some testing the waters and see where I can put my car and make the most speed. But you want to be careful. You don't want to burn off your tires too quickly, especially no stage brakes. You're not guaranteed any caution. So if you smoke those tires, you're going to keep falling back until the pit stop cycle.
Oh, yeah, it's going to eat you up. And, I rely on stage brakes. Stage brakes help me a lot because in that time I use those stage brakes as times to test distance. And then when I get into the final stage, I know what I need to do. These guys don't have that. They're going to have to just pay attention. They got tested for a couple laps, like you said, and then kind of back off as Jonathan Green is falling back into the punches of Brandon Hinton, who is also, remember, he started P2, so he probably did the same thing originally. He wanted to drop back.
That 43 car right behind him looking to get in the mix-up as Charles Connor is not letting up on that 68. He's going to put as much pressure on him as he can, try to force him to make a mistake as he looks to the inside.
As we got a caution out, he just barely got his nose in front of him, but I don't believe that's going to give him the position. I think it's going to really give it back to Tom Ringer because he might have dipped his nose right when the caution came out as Wisnowski takes another spin back there.
Yeah, fortunate for him, it doesn't look like anybody else was involved. He didn't make contact with the wall. It was able to save it, so good driving on his part. Hopefully he can figure out what issues he's having with his car, and we can get some green flag runs going.
These cars are tough to drive, man. They're very, aero dependent. They're very twitchy, so you got to be real careful with what you're doing out there.
Yeah, being at lap 16, I don't think we're going to see anybody come and take fuel and tires just yet. Being that it's the first run of the evening, I'd kind of like to see them extend their sets as long as they can and figure out what the car feels like on older tires. And we're going to step away real quick for a quick commercial break. We'll be right back in a moment.
And there's your beautiful baby.
Any day now.
Really? You're eating Doritos? He's eating Doritos on my ultrasound. Do you see what I have to do?
I know.
Give me that.
Okay, Jerry, once again, everyone's Doritos have mysteriously disappeared from the break room. Now, I realize this is a workplace, and I don't want to sound like I'm accusing you.
How dare you?
Okay.
That hurts, Steve. That hurts right here. And you know what? I don't have time to sit here and play detective. Some of us have work to do. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Outrage.
And welcome back from that quick commercial break. Looks like the lights on the pace car are off as we're coming to the backstretch to take the green flag. We got Tom Ringer still in the lead. The 67 of Charles Connor to his outside. I know he's been hungry to get that lead. How do you think this is going to play out, Edwin?
I think Tom Ringer's going to have a nice little fight on his hands. Charles Connor is a great short track driver. I used to battle him in street stocks. He knows these short tracks really well. So he's going to really try and do what he can. You know, but Tom Ringer is a force to be reckoned with. So it's going to be an interesting fight for P1.
And as the pace car is getting ready to pull off as we come to the green flag, I know we're talking a lot about the guys on the front row. Don't forget about that 51 and the 27 right behind them. They're definitely looking to advance their positions here.
One guy I want to also mention is that 56. You know, he's kind of been there. He's kind of been showing his nose. He's kind of still remaining patient. He's focusing on consistency, what it seems like, as they're battling back there for P4, as he's diving under Brandon Hinton right now. He wants to be consistent, but he wants to get to the front as well.
Yeah, a lot of two-wide racing going on here. Let's see how long these guys want to push their tires and burn them up to advance their positions before we start settling out.
One guy I also want to bring up is Christian Clark. Look at him. He's passing Mark Holloway now. Remember, this guy was in the first incident. I don't think he's hit pit road at all. So he's been struggling with a hurt car. So let's imagine how he would be with a good car right now, a fully good car like these guys on the front. And then also clean air helps you a lot on these short tracks, as you see with Tom Ringer extending his gap as Jonathan Green.
Sorry to cut you off. Looks like the 63 went around right there. A little self-spin. May have made a little bit of contact with the wall.
Let's take a look at it. It might be just a throttle control situation. Looks like he kind of gets into the corner. He's running normally, just kind of overcooks it, just spins it out. You know, these cars are very twitchy about the throttle.
Good job on his part of avoiding any other drivers and minimizing his damage. He may have had some slight contact, but nowhere near as bad as if some other drivers in the field would have gotten involved.
Yeah, he could have throttled that in there hard, but it looks like as he kind of went in overcooked. Then he checked it up because he didn't want to touch Brandon Hinton, and that's what snapped it around. As soon as he hit the brakes, he broke the rear end loose because he locked up. He kind of secured down the front end as we got cars hitting pit road right now.
All right, so now we're seeing a couple cars fall off of the main strategy here. We are 22 laps now into this first run. Do you think we're taking fuel only, or do you think we're grabbing some tires as well?
I'm not the strongest short track runner, but I would say they're taking tires. I mean, they're going to pay attention to that. They're driving hard between these cautions. You know, the front has been battling each other very hard as we got Christian Clark in here. Christian Clark, tell me how this race is going for you as you're sitting in P4 after the pit cycle cycles through.
It's been going good so far. I mean, it's been fun. I got involved in a little bit of a wreck there in the beginning. You know, it's just hard racing at a short track, but it's still fun out here.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, right, after watching so many laps in practice, everybody's running single file, that now that we start getting other cars around, how these cars handle around the different guys, it seems like the throttle is going to be very sensitive for this track. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. You really have to be easy getting on throttle when you come out of these turns, and it seems like racing next to these guys, I don't know if the wind's getting taken off of you or what, but when you're that close to people, it's even worse coming out of the turns.
Well, Christian, it looks like the field is starting to stack up as the pace car lights are off. I appreciate your mid-race interview, and good luck. Hope to see you up front.
Yep, appreciate it.
You know, he's one guy I've kept my eye on. You know, he's been working his way back up from that incident as he's sitting P4. But, you know, some of these guys up towards the front are not normally up there. So they've got a lot of things to pay attention to. You know, you got to pay attention to what you're doing. When you're out front, it's not following somebody. It's following your own line. You've got to make the pace yourself, which I know it's tough. You know it's tough. A lot of these guys out here know it's tough. So they're bunching up to get ready to go green right now.
So one thing that's interesting, right, is the 68 of Tom Ringer came into the pits. We have a new leader, the 51 of Jonathan Green. I'm interested to see how long it's going to take Ringer to climb back through the field to get back up front, or if he's going to hang out back there.
And I think that's what a lot of these guys who didn't pit are going to be thinking too. If tires are king here, they need to pay attention to that. They need to understand that. They need to know what's going on. As Jonathan Green enters the corner pretty high, but he's got Hunter Cox right behind him as Thomas Long pitches it out to the wall. So they're going to really be paying attention to what they got going on. They're going to make sure that they know how much speed Tom Ringer has in comparison to them right now.
Now, one thing that I brought up in the interview with Christian, right, is about throttle sensitivity. So whenever you're getting back on the throttle, for those of you who don't sim race or race in real life, is how as we looks like we got a car into the wall, the 43 of Hunter Cox. Looks like we're staying green for the moment being.
That Christian Clark also got loose in that situation. That's that throttle control you're talking about, man. You are spot on with it. You have to pay attention to the throttle application, man. Look at them right here on the replay. You've got Hunter Cox. He's going into the corner. He's trying to hold his line. Gets on the throttle just a little bit too hard on exit. It pitches him out. But he does a great job. He locks it up, barely taps the wall, waits for cars to pass him, and then gets back going. So that was good on him. So we're back live as Jonathan Green's leading with Brandon Hinton behind him.
Yeah, so going back to the throttle position, right, as you're rolling into the center of the corner, the instinct is, right, you want to be faster, you want to get back on the throttle, so you're just going to mash that throttle to the floor and hope that it sticks. But especially once you start moving up into these higher horsepower next-gen cars, you kind of got to roll the throttle. You want to ease into your percentage to where you get up. Oh, it looks like we got the 20 pushing around.
Oh, my gosh. Man, watching that, because I clicked over to him right away. Marcus Wisnowski, he was another guy mired to the back. I'm going to let you call what you saw here, because what I think happened is a little crazy.
So looking at it, looks like the 99 has a really good entry, starts to kind of slide up a little bit. The 20 had a run and just kind of carried it to his bumper. And unfortunately, you kind of got to choose when you want to use that run and when not to, and that would be a time to choose not to.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think that would have been a time to, as soon as you saw yourself coming up to him like that, back off the throttle. You know, it's a long race. You want to make sure you're not having issues. And it kind of, I mean, I'm not going to be offensive or anything. Looks like he drove through him, then lifted when the car moved off of him, and then got back on the throttle and snapped himself loose. So, you know, you got to pay attention to those things.
Let's take a look at it from the in-car perspective. Yeah, so it looks like Christian kind of slid up a little bit. Marcus kind of stayed into the gas, made a little bit of contact, and they both went around. Hopefully the damage is minimal for both of them. We can see them back out here on the track.
It looked like neither of them touched anything, but, you know, that's the kind of stuff that breeds problems between people, you know. As a kingpin guy of having issues with multiple people on the track, that's the kind of stuff that do it. You don't want to be a troublemaker like that.
Yeah, especially starting off the playoffs, right? You're trying to make some friends out here. You're trying to make acquaintances that'll help you succeed, right? You know, help me, help you kind of deal.
Yeah, that was a situation where you definitely want to back out of the throttle. You know, you still got multiple laps left in this race. We're at lap 29 out of 125, so.
And we're going to go off to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Bud. Bud. Wise. Bud. Bud. Wise. Bud. Bud. Wise. Bud. Wise. Bud. Bud. Wise. Bud. Wise. Bud. Wise. Bud. Wise. Bud.
And welcome back from that quick commercial break as the lights on the pace car are off. We got the 51 of Jonathan Green ready to take the green flag with the 27 of Brandon hitting to his outside. as the cars start to sack up. One thing that is interesting, right? Tom Ringer hasn't necessarily advanced his position too much other than the cars that had spun out. So I'm kind of curious as if he's hanging back there by choice or if he's struggling his way to make up that track position.
I'm thinking maybe tires aren't that big of a deal, you know, as we take the green flag, as Jonathan Green gets out in front. I think tires might not be that major of something. It is a short track. So the only time tires really become a problem is when you heat them up, right? Caution laps, you're not heating them up.
So not necessarily the heat, right? The wear on the right front is what's the right front tire is what's holding you to the bottom of the track. As that tire starts to wear, not necessarily just heat. Heat will play a factor, but as that tire starts to wear, you'll notice these guys won't be able to hold it on the bottom of the racetrack anymore.
Jonathan Green leading the way. He's got Brandon Hinton trying to chase him down right now, but also look who's in P3. Another playoff driver, Thomas Long. He is there. He's focusing on his consistency. He wants to remain up front. But Charles Connor's there trying to dive towards him. He wants to get back to him. He wants to climb position as well.
Yeah, one person we haven't really talked about much this race is the 55 of Matthew Tennant. He's been consistently holding it up there in the top 5, pretty much holding pace with the rest of these guys as the 68 of Tom Ringer pulls to his inside and takes that position away. And I'll tell you, looking from my perspective, looking in, right, his track position is going to be huge here. Every single time we've had a restart, that leader has gotten a massive jump, and P2 is just stuck there trying to run him back down as the 27 of Hinton is putting some pressure on the 51. Looks like throughout most of the field, everybody's kind of single filed out. We don't really have a lot of two wide battles. Everybody's trying to find their groove, figure out what line is going to work for them and how to start conserving the race car.
I think now is the time where we get to see long run speed as Brandon Hinton is pulling up on Jonathan Green right now. This is when they get the chance to test their long run capabilities because that's what's going to matter towards the end.
And with such a long race here, ultimately, that's kind of what you want to do is you want to figure out how your car is going to handle under certain conditions, right? As the tires wear down, if your tires are hot, are you in traffic? Do you have clean air? What are these conditions going to do to affect your car? '27 looking to the inside of the 51. He might clear him off the exit of 4.
Looks like the outside line gives him a nice run. He's going to try and battle back out there, but Brandon Hinton has the better entry into the corner, and he's going to succeed that position. He's going to take P1.
Yeah, Hinton showed a lot of speed tonight. He's pretty much remained in the top 3 for the entire race. I'm excited to see. He's definitely a force to be reckoned with, as you'd say.
The thing about Hinton, though, he started P2. He dropped back. He wanted to save his material. And then now it's paid off as he's moved towards the front.
Yeah, it looks like we got a little bit of two wide racing back here in the back of the pack. We get the 40 of Ben
Oh,
Kuhn.
Thomas Long around, slaps the wall hard.
And there's the yellow flag. Looks like we got another spinner up there as well.
Looked like the 59 of Tennant. It looks like he also spun around entry in the corner.
Let's go back here and check out a replay, see what happened. Then we had a couple of 2 separate incidents that happened throughout this caution. Right there, it looks like the 68 and the 23 were together. They might have pulled the air off the rear of the car. The 55 was just trying to stay away from it and unfortunately lost control.
Yeah, those quick lane changes will snap the car pretty bad for you.
Yeah, unfortunately, the 23's contact with the wall. It looks like he got loose off of corner exit, and that contact probably didn't do very good for the motor. All right, we are now coming to 39 laps into this run. Do you expect people to stay out, or are we going to maintain these same strategies? I'm not quite for sure what their fuel windows are looking like, but I know if it were me, I'd be starting to think about some tires.
I know these front runners are definitely thinking about coming to pit road because look who's in P4. You got Tom Ringer there, the guy who got tires. So he's now there. He's around them. They know he can last longer out on the track. They don't want to give up that much of an advantage because when you hit pit road under green flag and somebody is still up there running, it hurts you. So they probably don't want to give up that position. We might see maybe one or two of them, if not all three of them, dive to pit road. If we don't, that means they have faith in their tires and they think they can make it through.
Yeah, because under green flag stops, you're looking at about a minimum of 40 seconds to get onto pit road, get to your stall, make your stop, and exit pit road. So you're going to go at least one lap down under green flag stops.
And that's the big problem is you don't want to run into that position because what if you go a lap down and a caution comes out? You're now stuck there. Now you have to race a race within a race. You have to race for your lap back and then race back towards the front. That's the biggest problem.
That's the gambling that you do when you start making up these pit strategies. You know me, I kind of like to oddball some things, see what'll work out. It doesn't always work, but hey, it's worth a shot.
Oh yeah, you would definitely want to pay attention to your running position. Go ahead.
As the lights on the pace car are off, we're going to start stacking it up 2 wide as we enter turn 3, coming back to take the green flag. I also want to add, it doesn't look like we had any takers for pit stops other than our damaged vehicles that were involved in that accident.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty interesting as we have Brandon Hinton lead to the green in front of Jonathan Green, Charles Connor, Tom Ringer, Mark Holloway, who's now cracked the top 5 finally.
Huge jump there from the top 4. The 56 starts to close back in. I think he wants to get involved up there in the race for the lead.
Oh, yes, oh, look at that. He's going to try and go 3 wide. Jonathan Green kind of maybe scrubbed the wall there. Charles Connor going for the front position. He wants to get past Brandon Hinton. He wants to lead some laps tonight. He wants to put CNC Motorsports on the front right now.
Oh, gets a little loose there off exit. Can he hold it together? Looked like a victim of throttle control and trying to get the race car there to stick to the bottom.
That's extremely unfortunate. You just cracked the front to get to the lead and snapped yourself loose. I know he's probably beating himself up. But again, it's a long race. He's got plenty of time. He can get back up there and battle back again, you know. He's been running a real good race, so it's not that big of a deal in my mind.
As we look back here at some of our previous cautions throughout the evening,
that's our first incident right there where they pushed up into each other. Then we have the Marcus Wisniewski incident. This is when the caution actually got brought out. He spun out one time before, and then I think he had the second one as well. Yeah, let's see. I don't know. Maybe. Looks like he's running a normal line. And we had the Ben Kuhn. This is what caused him to go down the pits under caution. He just snapped loose while under caution trying to catch the field, slammed the wall, caused his motor to smoke.
yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about these next-gen cars is they are very picky. I mean, same with Xfinity, right? Once you start upsetting that car and in terms of trying to keep it straight and leveled out, it's very hard to recuperate.
And this is when Christian Clark and Marcus Wisniewski went around. Ben Kuhn gets around that perfectly.
So one thing that, as we're watching through all these replays, right, is we have had a decent amount of cautions here so far tonight. Does that affect your strategy in terms of when I want to pit, how I want to relay track position versus when I want to pit?
So, as somebody who benefited from a lot of cautions, in these situations, you do want to pay attention to your numbers. You want to make sure that you're not destroying yourself, you're not burning up too much fuel. And you also don't want to elongate the situation to where when you pit, these guys are out there for a while. I think the leaders don't have to pit yet, as Jonathan Green did. He did pit. He decided to go down pit road. But I do think they really need to start thinking about it. If they're planning for another caution, they need to make sure that that's the caution they pick. If they're planning for green flag runs, they need to plan properly for when they do hit pit road.
Yeah, as we're coming to lap 46 of 125, we're approximately a third of the way through. These guys have 4 tire changes. If you look at some of these guys, they have not used a single one. I wonder if they're trying to conserve them for the end of the race.
Yeah. The problem with that is, though, is based off Tom Ringer, tires don't matter that much. I mean, new tires versus used tires, yes, there may be a little bit of speed difference, but they're still pretty fairly matched.
But we haven't necessarily had the ultimate identifier, right? We haven't seen any long green flag runs and how those tires will affect it.
That is true. We do need that long green flag run to understand what's going on. As Brandon Hinton takes the lead from pit road as Jonathan Green hit pit road, so...
I was just about to say that 27's been up there fighting for that lead for a long time. Now that he's got it, I have a feeling he's not going to want to give this up to the 68 Ringer.
And Ringer is the guy who's already been leading, as he knows he wants to get back there. As we have also got Christian Clark, and now in a 3-wide situation back there for 4th position. Craig Knoll, Christian Clark, and Hunter Cox. Hunter Cox was another guy who was up front. He got all the way as high as P3, if I remember correctly.
If I'm that 99 at Christian Clark, I want people to stay away from me. I've already had to use one fast repair. We're only a third of the way through the race. It's time to start saving this car as the 67 goes around.
Yeah, he just seems like he lost the car and snapped it into the wall, but there is no caution for that. Single car spins do not bring out a caution unless he remains sitting on the racing surface, but that's not something he should do, as we have this great thing called a tow.
Yeah, which it looks like he definitely did have to tow it back, so he's going to have probably 1.5 to 2 minutes to get that car back into the pit lane so he can use his fast repair and get back on the track.
Yeah, he's going to go a couple laps down. He's going to be the only car laps down, so if more cautions come out, he's going to be the beneficiary, as Brandon Hinton puts a gap on Tom Ringer. Remember, Tom Ringer has the fresher tires.
We got the 63 looking inside of the 56 for 3rd position.
Yeah, but he's also got the 99 right there, as well as the 43 lurking. And I think here's one thing that I haven't seen in a while, the 8 car. He is making his way towards the front. He has a string of bad luck recently, so he's really looking for a good finish here today.
For a second, I thought the 43 was looking to take it 4 wide here at the Milwaukee mile. I don't think that would have worked out very good for him entering into turn number 1.
Well, Hunter Cox is a very smart driver. He's not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize things like that. I mean, I've had my personal issues with a lot of people on track, and him, I swear that list is shorter than most people. He knows what he's doing. He's going to make sure he doesn't do anything crazy, as we're 3 wide for a position further back. Christian Clark seems like he can't seem to make a pass right now.
I mean, yeah, the 56 of Mark Holloway is looking to stop the bleeding. He kind of got hung out up there on the high lane, and that's not where you want to be when you're running a short track. As the 8 is looking to the inside as well of the 56. Let's see if he can make it stick down there off a corner exit.
We had that slight moment of cloud coverage, but these guys are back in the sun, so we can see those beautiful paint schemes made on these guys. Again, as the 8, yeah, you're right, he's trying to get under Mark Holloway. He wants to take that position from him.
Man, Brandon Hinton has just put an absolute gap on P2 of Tom Ringer at 3.5 seconds over the course of the previous 3 to 4 laps.
But that's what you got to do, because you got to remember, Brandon Hinton has not pitted yet, but Tom Ringer has. So they're on different cycles. He needs that buffer. He needs that space to be able to battle back when cycling through. Because once they cycle through, he's probably going to be right at him or in front of him.
Man, let's see how these post-race inspections go. I bet Hinton's got a bottle of nitro stuffed under the seat or something. So he's pulled off to almost 4.5-second lead.
He has to, man. And I think something might be wrong with Tom Ringer. I think the track has gotten away from us. He's being caught by Ben Kuhn, who has now gotten around him. And he also has Hunter Cox hunting him down as well. Look at that group of people passing the guy with the freshest tires.
So looking at P2, Ben Kuhn has 10 laps on his tires compared to Brandon Hinton's 54. Do you think Ben Kuhn's going to be able to close this 4.6-second gap to Brandon Hinton?
I don't know, man. There's some gaps that are just too big to overcome, you know? And it looks like if you look at that left side of your screen, he's not really gaining on him. He's kind of staying where he is at. So I don't know if he can. It really just depends on Brandon Hinton coming up to this lap car that's right in front of him. There's going to be a break in the speed. As Ben Kuhn is kind of tracking him down a little bit, I don't know. I don't think he can. In my honest opinion, I don't think he can.
So, I mean, if you're Charles Connor, right, you are going to be the first car one lap down. You know, do you think he's going to battle Hinton to remain one lap down so he can get on the lead lap the next time a caution comes out? Or you think he's going to play nice and let him by and try to work his way back from 2?
He's going to battle. If I was in that position, I'm battling him. I'm one lap down. There's no guarantee that there will be another caution. But in the case that there is, I want to be that one car lap down. I do not want to give up that position. I don't want to give up my chance to come back towards the front because I know I'm fast enough to get there. I mean, look at Charles Connor. He's maintaining this gap in front of Brandon Hinton. It's kind of expanding it a little bit. I wouldn't give that up. If he gets to me, I'm fighting him. I'm not going to wreck him, and I'm not going to block him. I'm not going to slow his momentum, but I'm going to fight him.
Yeah, looking through the field tonight, I know we talked about it last week, but we do have some beautiful paint schemes out here running tonight. That 27 of Hinton is always identifiable on the track.
Oh yeah, Brandon Hinton makes his own stuff. That pink and like kind of sky blue color. This is a unique one. He's got black in it as well. Brandon Hinton always has some amazing paint schemes. You never miss him on track. In case you didn't know, Brandon Hinton is also a YouTuber. Brandon Hinton Motorsports on YouTube. He broadcasts. He sends up replays of all these races he does with replays at the end of all incidents. He's a pretty cool guy. If you've never checked him out, definitely check him out. Same as if you're on YouTube, check out DES iRacing, as these are broadcast live on YouTube. We also post the videos and everything on there too. It's an amazing show. If you're watching it, you're already here. Make sure you like, subscribe, and look out for the next one.
Yeah, and you know I'm a sucker for junior motorsports. The 43 Hunter Cox is running that Justin Allgaier scheme from the Daytona 500, and that's a pretty sweet paint scheme out there.
Oh yeah, I love it. It was really good to see that car make it to the Daytona 500, and I like to see that somebody is running it. Hunter Cox is doing a great job. 67 has a beautiful GM scheme. As somebody who works for GM, I love to see that out there as well. It's beautiful. You know, these guys have some great schemes. Ben Kuhn, his is a self-made one. He's a TRN driver, as he's now 3.5 seconds behind. Ratfink Racing, their paint schemes are made by Todd Perrant, as Tom Ringer has now caught Hunter Cox. Remember, these guys got past him, but I think he's settling in his groove.
Oh, car through the infield.
Tough break for Christian Clark. I know he wanted a good run today. Snapping into the infield like that is going to hurt him. But now, if he dips into pit road, he's got a car to battle. He has to beat Charles Connor.
Yeah, as the caution flag does come out, he's going to probably have to hit pit road. He made some pretty significant contact with that inside retaining wall.
Caution flag. If the caution flag's out, then that means that Charles Connor is good. he gets to hold on to that position. It looks like caution flag is now out. It is now out. It was not out originally, but it is out now. So that means that Charles Connor is going to get his lap back.
Oh yeah, I thought for sure we had a caution come out there, but I guess that was just a broadcaster error, right? You know, it happens. But as the 23 of Thomas Long spins around, that will bring out the caution. So we're gonna rack and stack everybody, line them back up, get Charles Connor back on the lead lap, get back to green flag racing.
Interesting thing, Christian Clark never fell a lap down. He stayed on the lead lap that whole time. So he's going to be looking to battle his way back as that car is pushing hard up into the outside wall.
Yeah, it looks like he caught those tires right there on the inside retaining wall, and that pulled the rear end off the car.
He's going to have to hold it together. You know, I mean, we don't have a lap car down at all. This is going to be our first time not having a lap car down. So everybody's still in contention to win this. Anybody could. One major incident, and we have a new race winner. I'm thinking Brandon Hinton's going to be pretty hard to beat. But at the same time, you've got Tom Ringer, Ben Kuhn, guys that are hard to beat as well. So it's going to be an interesting run.
As the 27 pulls down to pit road for the first time tonight on lap 64.
I don't think he's worried. I think he knows that he has enough speed to get himself through the field. He's a very patient driver. He's a very clean driver. We've got half of this race left. I think he knows that he can get back to the front, and he's going to be paying attention to that as Tom Ringer. Most of the field is on pit road right now. So it's pretty much who gets the race off, as Brandon Hinton does.
So looking at it, though, right, it's going to be kind of the same situation that we saw Ringer in earlier. You got the 40 of Ben Kuhn stayed out with 51. The 20 who was involved in that previous accident, right? So they're going to be back in traffic. These cars seem to handle a little poorer once you start getting in that dirty air.
But as a guy who started the race by dropping back and battling through lap traffic, I think you might understand it more. And the same with Tom Ringer. He led early on, dropped all the way to the back, had to fight his way through. These guys have paid attention to how this track is. They know what they're going to have to battle with. As Zachary Reichel, let's just throw him out there, is right behind Tom Ringer. So he's putting himself back in it too.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out as we're starting to near the halfway point of this race. You think anybody's strategy is going to change? You think we're going to start seeing some tighter racing, or you think everybody's going to kind of mellow out towards the end?
Right now, as much as I hate it, this is a management race now. You got half the race left. You know how the first half went. You don't know if the second half is going to go that way or not. So you want to be just prepared for every situation. You've got to manage what you got. You know, as Ben Kuhn, Jonathan Green, Marcus Wisnowski all stayed out. You've got to manage the material you have. Fight these guys a little bit, but don't burn up your stuff doing it.
Yeah, one thing Brandon Hinton did just prove to us is as he didn't pit until lap 65, that they could do this on a one-stop race. Oh, that outside lane stacked up really bad.
Now that hurts Brandon Hinton. You know, he misses a ship. Now Brandon Hinton has more work to do to get back toward the front.
Looking at his car, it doesn't look like he has any significant front end damage, right? And that would play a huge factor here. So let's hopefully these guys can kind of settle out and make their way forward as the 40's pulling away from the 68.
Yeah, but Brandon Hinton now has his two biggest adversaries in this race in front of him. He's also got Hunter Cox, a guy who was strong in the early part of the race, but had an incident and had to drop back. He's now in front of him. Marcus Wisnowski, another guy who seems to just appear towards the end of the races to be towards the front. He's in front of him. That's the first guy he has to battle. So he's got a lot of work cut out for him, and it's a lot of tire burning work cut out for him as Marcus Wisnowski snaps loose. Caution out.
Yeah, it looks like that was another self-spin. I mean, it's like I said, it's very difficult. The throttles on these things are very finicky. It's the same as the Xfinity cars. Looks like he overdrove it a little bit, tried to get back into the throttle, and it just kind of sent him around as he tried to recuperate.
He saw that car behind him, and I think it might have scared him a bit. That's the problem with short track racing. You know people are so close to you, and you know that one tiny mistake they can catch up. So you push the limit and push the limit, and you want to be on the edge the whole time. But when you cross over that edge, you get moments like that, and it hurts you a lot. So we're going to take a quick commercial break here. We'll be back with the broadcast.
My girl is too bold. We both getting old. It won't be much longer before we in a home. We go to Walgreens, we both got bad knees. I bet you don't know much about these things. But once a month when Social Security comes, it's the only time of month where we're having fun. Every fancy like White Castles on a Tuesday night. Yeah, the double cheese slider ain't nothing much finer with some onion rings on the side too. 2 hours later, gotta go boom, get you some pinto when you get home. Gonna be in the bathroom on your own. It's a St. Louis party that we do once a month. Hey, this how we do what we do. Oh, like. Where my chicken? I don't know. Where it? I don't know. Don't be too long. You know I'm fat. It sure don't is. Forget the sides, rice and gravy, and biscuits. Girl, hurry, cause I'm hungry. Woo. My kitchen's clean. Ain't no man. Nah. I got the chicken straight from Buffalo. We eating chicken in the kitchen. Don't be lazy. Pass the gravy, cause you know that it's tasty.
And coming back to you live after that commercial break, looks like we got the 40 of Ben Kuhn in the lead, 68 of Tom Ringard was outside, the 43 of Hunter Cox, 27 of Brandon Hinton in P4, and Matthew Tennant rounding out your top 5.
We also got 2 interesting guys, Christian Clark, Mark Holloway, Zachary Reichel. They're all back there. Charles Conner still trying to figure a way to get by. As it looks like Ben Kuhn does not get a good start as Conner is able to get to his outside. He did cross the line before him, but that's not an issue. If the green flag came out, it's totally fine.
Yeah, one thing that I thought was kind of funny, a lot of drivers seem to have PTSD from that last restart. Everybody's kind of spaced out in case there was another checkup.
Oh, yeah, and these 1.5-mile tracks, especially with these front straightaways that have walls on both sides, people are going to get scared of that stuff. They don't want to have an issue as Brandon Hinton solidifies himself in P4. He is definitely a long-run car, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, after watching that last round, it seems like he really conserved his equipment quite a bit, was able to pull up to a 4.5-second lead, so let's see if he can do that again.
He's trying to get to there to Hunter Cox, as Hunter Cox tries to get under Tom Ringard. Tom Ringar's a very hard guy to pass. You know, me and you both have raced a lot of these people in other series, not in the next gens, but in other series. So we kind of have a little bit of insight how they are. I'll tell you right now, Tom Ringar's hard to pass. It doesn't matter if he gives you a lane. His caution's out. Why is caution out? What happened on track?
We had the 63 of Craig Knoll. Looks like he had a self-spin at the back of the pack.
Craig Knoll was a front-running car as well. So it's interesting to see him struggling right now. Oh, it's actually the 57 gets around. Yeah, it looks like the 57, he clipped that little apron, the berm right there, and he just kind of snapped himself around. You know, that's one interesting thing about Milwaukee. It does have those berms around the exits of corners, and they will snap you.
Thinking there was multi-incidents. I want to say the 63 went around in 3 and 4 as well.
Did he now? That's an interesting one. We didn't seem to get it caught, but it's something we could definitely look back on.
Yeah, he absolutely did. He overcooked the corner and got loose.
So
he's
in
63.
1 and 2, it looks like 1 and 2, the 57 gets around. That's what happened right there. And then we go into 3 and 4. Same concept, just overcooked the corner. That's what brought out the caution. 2 cars spinning, just happened to be in 2 separate corners.
Yeah, good job by both of those guys to keep it off that retaining wall, minimize the damage, so we can get back to green flag racing without any repairs.
And good job to our broadcasting team for being able to bring that up. Good job, Damon. You did amazing doing that, letting us see what both incidents were.
Yeah, as we are closing in on lap 75, we have 50 laps to go. We've seen guys make 50 laps on one set of tires. Is now the time that we start pushing?
They know what their tires can do now. They know the situation at hand. They know this track is hard to pass on. I'm going to have to say, yeah, this is the time you start pushing. It comes down to fuel, though. If you don't have enough fuel, you should have pitted and took that fuel. Then you could have burned through it and got all the way to the front. You know, I'm keeping my eyes on Hinton, Tom Ringer, even Hunter Cox. Christian Clark has had an up and down day. I think if that car gets to clean air, he's going to have a good run as he's going to be starting in P6.
So I'm going to play the caveat to that, and I'm going to say no, we don't start pushing now. We have 50 laps to go. I mean, the longest green flag run we've had was maybe upwards of 20 laps or so. I think we're going to see a couple more cautions, and what I don't want to see is these guys burn their stuff up prior to the end of this race.
I definitely see why you're coming from that opinion, and it's good to have 2 different insights. You know, I think push, you think don't. So it's interesting to see which drivers out there take which perspective and how this race goes, because they're coming around to get that green flag, and I'll tell you right now, the entire top 10 are all fast enough to be out front. Top 12 are all fast enough to be out front right now. So it's going to be an interesting situation.
Let's see if that 40 is going to get a good jump here, if the 68 is going to stay by his side. Looks like the 40 and the 43 both got a really good jump. It's going to clear the 68 on the outside.
I think the 40 waited for that bump from that 43 to get that light tap to get that jump, as now Tom Ringer is going to have to fall on the clutches of Brandon Hinton. That's a guy he does not want to let pass him. If Brandon Hinton gets past him, both those guys are tough to pass. So he's going to have to fight with him, as Christian Clark is in P5. This guy has had an up and down day. It's real nice to see him up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing that could really throw a curveball in here, if you look at it, our P1 and P2 drivers are both non-playoff drivers. After that, P3 through 6 are all playoff drivers. So I'm kind of curious to see how this one plays out.
And, you know, that's the good thing about being a non-playoff driver is, you know, all eyes are on the playoff drivers, but if you can throw in an upset win in there, you're going to have every eye looking at you like, why was this guy not in the playoffs, you know? In the truck series last season, I finished P2 in Atlanta, and I wasn't a playoff driver. You know, it's a real good feeling. It's like, hey, these guys are good enough to win the championship, but I'm good enough to beat them. So, you know, you've got that kind of bragging rights situation right there as the top 5 kind of single file out. They really cannot push as Brandon Hinton's looking for space around Tom Ringer.
Yeah, so if I'm the 68 at Tom Ringer, right, I'm the leader of the playoff drivers. I'm not necessarily as concerned about who's leading the race. I'm concerned about where the other playoff drivers are. As the
Brandon Hinton off.
Speaking of playoff drivers, I was just about to talk to him as he was riding right behind Tom Ringer. Looks like he's going to lose quite a few spots with that self-spin there.
Another playoff driver, Thomas Long, he just spun off the same corner, but he launched it down pit road, which is going to result in a penalty of speeding on pit road.
Yeah, thankfully with the iRacing software that we had, if he does spin down pit road, he won't get a black flag. It may issue him one, but we will clear it due to the incident of he wasn't speeding down pit road, he wrecked into pit road.
And that's the great thing about DES here. We do pay attention to every aspect of the race. So it's real nice to hear that, you know, our race control broadcasters and everybody are paying attention, but this has caused him to go a lap down. This has put him in a very bad situation. He is a playoff driver. He does need the points.
Yeah, he is the only car 1 lap down. So the next caution that comes out, as Craig Knoll is also 1 lap down. So right now, Thomas Long is the first car 1 lap down. So if a caution were to come out, he would get the wave around back around to the lead lap if he was not involved in any incident.
And this is what I was talking about earlier, race within a race. Thomas Long has to get past Craig Knoll if he wants to be that first car lap down. It's going to put him in a really bad spot. But, you know, pushing like that to try and get a position back is hard. It is detrimental to your drive. You will burn up your material. And that's the problem when you end up in a race within a race, as Hunter Cox is trying to chase down the leader right now. The top four have really separated themselves. So they're really trying to get something done right now.
Yeah, and also, you know, you brought up DES iRacing. For those of you that are watching as we have a caution come out, I'll come back to that here in a second. Let's see what we got going on.
What is this caution for? Who will be the first car lap down? Who's going to be the one to get the lucky dog? Like I said, race within a race. Looks like Jonathan Green gets loose, and then Mark Holloway goes down, hits that little tire barrier sticking out, and the car won't move off the wall, and that's what's going to bring out the caution. He can't get it out of there.
Yeah, so as we're going around doing these pacing laps, one thing I did want to bring up for those of you that are watching the broadcast, if you are interested in racing with us, you can hop into Discord, talk to some of us, get on the track with us, and see what we're all about. This is a very fun group of guys to run with, very competitive, with an awesome group of guys to broadcast, to race control, and just to be around. So I highly, highly recommend you hop in the Discord and hang out with us.
100%. Head over to racedess.com and get in here in this series. It's amazing. We haven't even started our next two series yet. The NextGen is the only one running right now. But we do have what's called Saturday Night Madness. We've got those going down. We've also got some exhibition races right now, especially with the new ARCA car coming out. We've got 2 ARCA races coming up. We've got one at Kansas, and then the next one is going to be at Dover, and it's going to be great this weekend. I'm planning on being there. Are you planning on being there, Hunter?
Oh, absolutely. Bristol's one of my favorite tracks. I've always had a lot of speed there. I have not had a chance to drive this new ARCA car. I've been kind of stuck at work since it's been released, so I'm looking forward to seeing what this new car is all about.
Oh, it handles great. Well, for me, I like a nice tight car, and then it handles pretty good. So we're going to have a great time in those races. Lucky Dog ended up going to Craig Knoll, as he was not involved in the situation. So I know Thomas Long is hoping for another quick caution, because if we get a quick caution, he's back up there to the field, and he gets to fight for it. The top 4 are, again, they separated themselves, looking to see if they can do it again.
Yeah, looking at the broadcast, you know, a lot of guys are in here cheering on these drivers. Tanner Honeycutt is nominating you and I to start broadcasting more. He says we're doing an awesome job out there and to keep it up.
I appreciate that, Tanner. Man, we do like broadcasting. Hunter Cox brings a nice element to it. I've done it before. He definitely makes me want to be better, and it's a great broadcast time.
Well, Hunter Cox is out there sitting in P2, but Hunter Davis definitely loves doing it with you.
You know what I meant. I'm sorry. You have the same first name. I apologize.
As we're double filing up, lights of the pace car off, we're about to take the green flag. We got the 40 of Ben Kuhn sitting in first, Hunter Cox to his outside, playoff driver Tom Ringer sitting in third, and playoff driver Christian Clark sitting in P4. Look at how well he's recuperated after those early incidents that he had.
Oh yeah, that bright green car is looking for a good restart as we get an incident off the start. The leader spins out, caution immediately. We gotta take a look at that and see what happened.
I couldn't tell if he spun the tires and the car behind him did not. It was kind of difficult to see it all happen so quickly, but we're gonna rewind this, take a little look back, and see what happened.
It looked kind of like he was trying to check up the field, you know, to speed, but everybody was already there, and he got hit from the back, decided to hit the gas and spun it and hooked right off the front. So I don't know. We got to definitely look at that.
Oh, so it looks like he got off. His tires may have spun a little bit. You saw how his car kind of shot off to the right. That's usually a pretty strong indicator that the tires are spinning. Clipped the right front of the 43, and that sent him around. 43 checked up, 99 got in the back of the 43.
Now, the real question is after that, because it was just a bad restart, 43, 99, 67, do they have damage? That's the question, because the 99 hit the 43, and he also got hit by the 40. So if you look right there, the 40 came down, clipped the 99 right in the right front quarter panel. So, but he did drive on a damaged car as we're going to head to a commercial break while these guys stack back up.
At the river mouth, the bears catch only the tastiest, most tender salmon, which is exactly what we at John West want. John West endure the worst to bring you the best.
And we're back live from that quick commercial break. Looks like the 68 of Tom Ringer is back to P1. So it looks like a few guys came in, take some damage repairs. I don't think the 43 or the 99 is going to have too much damage. I'm so excited to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I think he just ever so slightly inched out the 43 to get that P1 position. The 43 checked up because he did have a car wrecking in front of him, which is the right thing to do, but it did cost him P1. But I don't know, maybe starting from that second lane might be better. You know, as Christian, here's a guy, I didn't talk about this, 57. He's sitting P4. We haven't seen him up front this whole time, but he's there now. So I'm very interested to see what he can do.
Yeah, as they're looking around, from what I'm seeing, the 57 of Chris Wagner is showing 1 lap down.
The 57 is showing 1 lap down?
That's what the iRacing, let's see if that changes once we cross the stripe. Sometimes iRacing can be a little buggy. As we come to take the green flag, the 68 of Ringer gets a huge jump off the 99 and the 43.
Yeah, he's still showing 1 lap down, but that's okay. He gets to battle for his position. He's high in front of the next couple guys, so he's going to want to hold on to that position as he's got to battle Ben Kuhn for that. As the 99 tries to dive under Hunter Cox, he doesn't want to lock it up, though. Gets nowhere near him. He's doing good. You know, those top three, they want to get away.
Oh, sorry to cut you off. The 60. Oh, big wreck right there. Coming out of 4.
Big wreck. 51, 57, 8 car, all involved.
Yeah, if you look at that 67, so I think it was the 67, and I'm not sure. Brandon Hinton got together a little bit on entry. It looks like it sent the 67 up high into the 57. Just a little 3 wide, I guess. Close to.
Oh, yeah, they got a little bit together, but at the same time, 57 in the middle of the backstretch, he was hitting each other. But the 8 car was into the back of the 51 as well. So it seems like there's like a triple thing going on. As you see, the 57 hits the wall, and then, you know, the 67 gets pushed up by the 27. But then the 8 gets into the corner. 51 checks up, tries to cut down. 8 car washes right up into him. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, so one thing, I mean, looking back, after they did cross the stripe, the 57 of Chris Wagner was 1 lap down. So I'm not quite for sure why he was lining up in the P4 position. We'll have to look at that after the race ended. But unfortunate for the guys involved. Thankfully, most of these guys have been fairly incident-free, so they're still going to have their fast repairs, grab some fresh tires as we come to close lap 95. So we'll be at 30 to go.
Well, I think those are very low-level hits. I mean, unless you still have 2 fast repairs, I wouldn't even think to use one right now. But it just kind of seems like pushing real hard in the corner, tucked up under people. You can't see what's going on. I think that's the epitome of racing incident on top of racing incident on top of a racing incident. You can't really fault any of those guys for that.
So you remember talking about earlier, right? Strategy, tires versus track position. The 68 of Tom Ringer chose track position while some other drivers behind him chose tires. I'm kind of curious to see how this one plays out as we have a couple of new drivers up here within the top 5. We got Matthew Tennant sitting in P2, Marcus Wisniewski P3, Hunter Cox P4.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Like you said, you get a lot of new guys. I'm seeing Brandon Hinton in P4. I don't know what's going on.
I saw that as well. I wonder if Hunter Cox maybe got a speeding penalty down pit road, maybe dropped to an EOL. I'm not quite for sure what happened there, but we do have Brandon Hinton in P4.
I'm seeing Hunter Cox line up P8. Did he, by chance, dive down pit road? We're going to get our race control to see if he has fresher tires on that car. He did go down pit road. That's what changed it. That's why he dropped back. But that's what Tom Ringer didn't want. He did not want someone like Brandon Hinton right there. As Thomas Long is also up there with Charles Connor.
One thing to pay attention to, this 20 car, I think he may be out of fast repairs or trying to save it, but he does have some pretty significant front end damage, so let's see how it affects this race car. This is a short track, or not necessarily a short track, it drives like one, but as to how that damage is going to affect his racecraft.
Well, we did see Christian Clark drive a damaged car early on in the race, so we do know that it is possible. But the question is how possible is it is as he washes up real high trying to go for P2. Causes the door to be open. Brandon Hinton goes all the way through as Charles Connor gets into the wall.
Looks like we're going to stay green as for right now. Let's hope he can get that race car off the track and back into the pits, get his repairs knocked out as we are staying green.
This is exactly what Tom Ringer did not want, but also kind of what he wanted. He's got a gap, but he's being chased down by a guy who knows how to drive this track. As Wisnowski gets underneath another car, pushes him up, causes the 8 car to get by as the 43 is also there 4 wide on the front stretch.
Yeah, the Milwaukee Mile is not a place you want to be 4 wide. 3 wide will definitely be pushing it as the 43 is going to try to capitalize off to the 20 on the inside as they're 3 wide now behind him.
I will say Milwaukee is an illusion. It's a very wide track. You look like you can do that 4 wide. You look like you can even do 3 wide easily. You cannot. Just as you said, it is not something you want to do. As they sort it out, they're able to get back running straight as Brandon Hinton is casually ticking away at that lead from Tom Ringer. So he's really wanting to get towards that front.
Ooh, the 99 way overdrove that corner, washed up the track. Looks like he's going to be able to recuperate. Going to lose 1 position to that 20 of Thomas Long as he looks back to the inside. Oh, 55 locks up the brakes. Yeah, one thing that I did want to talk about, right, is we are, you know, yeah, as we look to P1 and P2, it looks like the 27 of Brandon Hinton's going to take that position away from the 68.
And that's not something the 68 wanted at all. Brandon Hinton has been very good at driving these long runs, and if there is not a caution, he gets that long run as we're coming up to we're about to have 25 laps to go when they cross the start-finish line now.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to talk about is, you know, 25 laps to go. Looks like the 63 is loose. Is he going to be able to save it? Nope. He gets hard into the outside wall. The 63.
Caution out. Caution out. Craig Knoll having another moment. He did not want that. He got his lead lap back 2 cautions ago, and now he's going to be in a bad position.
Yeah, but as I was starting to talk about, right, as we are winding down these laps where we have 24 laps to go, 3 and 4 wide racing is not what you want to see to make it to the end of this race.
Not at all. That's something that will cause a caution. It will cause an issue. You will see a wreck off of that. You know, it's something I've had to learn over my time is don't put your nose where it doesn't belong. And you may think it does belong there, but it does not. As we're going to take a quick commercial break while Tom Ringer goes down pit road.
Butterfly in the sky, I must be really high. There's a dragon there, I'm a little scared, a reading rainbow. I can eat anything. Take a joke and blow some smoke, a reading rainbow. A reading rainbow.
And welcome back to live as we watch the replay of some tight 3 and even 4 wide racing here at Milwaukee.
as we see the 40 lock it up, and that just kind of stacked the field up, but also in front of them, they were stacking up, trying to stay out of each other as they drive deep into the back stretch right there. These guys are fighting hard. They know how little laps are left. And there it goes, 43, 8 car, 20 car, 59. They almost went 4 wide right there. That is a tight fight. Man, that is some crazy racing. Look at them battling 3 wide, 2 lanes deep as they are getting 2 wide on the back stretch right now, getting ready for restart. These guys are racing hard right now.
Although we only have 22 laps left, that is still a lot of racing left to do. A lot of positions to hash out amongst these drivers.
Oh yeah, Tom Ringer just hit pit road, but he is starting P9. P9, so he's still towards the front, but he's got a lot of heavy hitters in front of him. Wisnowski, Green, you've got Hinton, Cox, Christian Clark, who's going to be in P4 again. He's back towards the front.
As the 27 of Brandon Hinton is going to get a pretty big jump on the restart. The 43 is going to kind of fall in behind into P2 as these guys start to battle it out with 20 laps remaining.
Yeah, the front 4 kind of lined it up, single file right there. They're really wanting to just make it to the end, but they also still want to win. Everybody in this race still is in contention to do that.
Yeah, if you're the 68 of Tom Ringer, now is go time. You have 20 laps. You got to make it all the way through the field as the 51 is getting sideways on the inside of Ringer. Looks like he's able to keep it together.
The 20 car gets past the 59. Those guys have had some issues here in the last restarts. That was how we got those 3 wide positions. But look at that. Brandon Hinton is about to come under fire from the 43 as well as the 40, and the 99 has turned on some boost. He is there separating from the field.
Yeah, these guys realize, you know, the gloves are coming off. It's go time. We're now coming to 19 to go. It's gonna be interesting to see how this one ends.
Oh yeah, it's the front 3 are about a car length between each other, but the 43's got a little bit more speed over the 40, and he's got better court entry than the 27, but you know, he's going to really try his hardest to win this race. But this is a new position for the front 3.
Oh, we got
caution flags out.
Sorry to cut you off. We got a big wreck on the backstretch. The 68 of Ringer is involved. We got a lot of cars into the wall.
That is not what the 68 wanted at all.
Unfortunately, that comes down to the question we were talking about earlier, track position versus tires, and looks like the 68 fell on the short stick on that one.
He goes into turn 3. He sees the 59 trying to get past the 29. Those two have been fighting real hard. That's kind of a battle you kind of wanted to stay away from. He gets into the corner, exits, gets loose, corrects it. He actually saves it.
Yeah, it's going to be coming up here on the exit of 2 is where we're going to see the incident start to occur.
Oh, yeah, and he's right by another playoff driver, Thomas Long, who's right there. So they need to. Arrow push from the 51 to the 59. Both go around. Tom Ringer nowhere to go. Slams into the 51.
Very unfortunate to see for that 68 car. I'm sure he's going to get it onto pit road, use that fast repair, get back onto the track. He's not going to have a lot of time left to make up those positions that he lost, though.
He's going to have to drive harder than he has all night to get up there, because right now those top 4 are the class of the field as of now. I won't say the whole race, but as of right now, they are, as the 67's getting his lucky dog back. He's been a good guy. He wants to get racing back up there too.
And we're going to step away to a quick commercial break.
This looks great. This must be yours. I found it on the kitchen table.
Thanks.
Mommy, have you seen my hamster?
Well, isn't he asleep in his cage?
Have you seen my hamster then?
No.
But only go upstairs and look thoroughly. I mean, sure. Probably behind the bed, like where you found him last time.
Okay.
And we're back after that quick commercial break. As the field is entering into turn 3, you got the 27 of Brandon hitting a playoff driver, 43 of Hunter Cox, the 40 of Ben Kuhn sitting in third, 99 of Christian Clark, and the 20 of Wisniewski rounding out your top 5 as we come out of 4 to take the green flag.
Oh, yeah. If we talk about the top 6 as a whole, 3 are playoff drivers, 3 are not. As we're going green right now, Brandon Hinton gets a good jump, but look who also does. Hunter Cox, he stays right next to him. He's going to try and battle him into turn 1, but this is a flat track. That outside line has really no power out here.
So he's going to try to sling it up high, get as big of a run as he can off the exit of 2. Ooh, the 99 around into the grass.
I wonder if that's going to cause a caution. Christian Clark snaps down. That's a terrible into his, I don't know if it's going to be into his race, but he was fighting hard for, as the 40 also getting loose, locks it up. He stays off the wall. We continue green. Wisniewski into P3.
Yeah, the 40 did a very good job of keeping that car out of the rest of the field.
Oh, I said Marcus Wisniewski into P3. Thomas Long trying to get back there. Tom Ringer's also there in P4 right now. They are all fighting hard. As Hunter Cox, I don't know, man. Watching these guys are racing, I think Hunter Cox might move him out of the way.
I think it's going to be interesting. He's got to get to the back bumper first. I mean, you got Brandon hitting Hunter Cox within half a second of each other. P3 is now 2 seconds back. Right now, this is becoming a 1-2 show. Let's see if these guys can close the gap.
This is the thing about moving people out of the way. He got there for a second, but he wanted to not touch him. He wanted to be respectful. The thing about moving people out of the way is, if you do it too soon, it's going to happen back to you. And if you do it in a way that ruins their race, you got to expect it coming to you later down the line. So I know that's something Hunter Cox is thinking about. He likes to be a clean driver, but he's also still mildly aggressive. So if he does move Brandon Hinton, he has to do it right. You have to do it respectfully.
I didn't want to say anything, but look who's climbed back up into P3 is that recent incident. You got the 68 of Tom Ringer.
Yeah, but he's about 2.5 seconds out from these guys. These guys have to start fighting for him to close that gap. It's going to be tough to do it on pure speed alone.
Oh, the 23 of Long around after the 55 kind of gives him the bumper and corner. Collects the 8 of Zach Reichel. That's going to bring out the caution.
That is not what these front two wanted. They wanted to race it out. They do not want more cautions.
Yeah, as we roll back to this replay, looks like the 55 may have locked up the brakes a little bit, got into the back of the 23 and got him loose.
We're going to take a look at it right here. Marcus Wisniewski over top of the 51. He's going to crowd him down just a little bit. They all make it through the corner pretty easy. Normal corner right there. Still crowding going on between those two as we go into the next corner. And then there it is. Just slight clip, misjudgment of position right there. Looked like it was the 20 of Marcus Wisniewski who was involved in it.
And the 55.
So there they are, the 51 in the 20. 59 comes in, just clips him ever so. But those guys have also been racing each other hard. That might have been a moment of, hey, you pissed me off throughout this race, you know?
Yeah, some pretty tight racing, right? As we're closing in on lap 117. You think anybody's going to come in here and take some tires?
Absolutely not. There's no point in risking it right now.
And I 100% agree with you. Track position at this point in the race is of the utmost importance.
Yeah, by the time we go green, we're going to be about 8 laps left. There's no point in pitting. You got what you got. You got to make it work.
Yeah, looking up here at the top 5, it looks like we've only got 2 playoff drivers in the top 5 right now. Those are going to be some pretty big points for them if they can close it out.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very fun to watch these guys go through the next couple of laps. You know, as the sun is behind some cloud coverage right now on track, as we got Tom Ringer, Brandon Hinton, Ben Pivot, Christian Clark, your top 4, Zachary Reichel, Todd Perrant, Craig Knoll, who's a playoff driver who's no longer in the race, Mark Holloway, Thomas Long, and Max Denda, who did not show up. So it's going to be an interesting run.
Yeah, right now it's hard to tell which position you would want to be in, right? The 27 gets to control the field so he can get a good start. The 43's been getting good restarts all night. Same with the 68, starting behind our leader. I think this is going to be a very strong battle to the end of this race.
I think the position you want to be in is Tom Ringer's position. You know the outside's not going to carry speed. You know that you have a good enough car to get around people. I know Brandon Hinton's a tough guy to pass here because he's very fast, but that's kind of the position you want to be in. As Hunter Cox is really going to have to protect from the guy passing him and the guy in front of him. He can't lose the guy leading, and he also can't let the guy behind him pass.
Yeah, exactly. The 43, I mean, the biggest thing is if he can get down there to that bottom, he wants to slow the bleeding, get down to the bottom lane, as he does shut the door on the 68.
He does get by him, and now you've got your top 4 is a different top 4 now. Hinton, Cox, Ringer, and Green all battling for it, as Jonathan Green has been towards the front for a while now. He's another one of those guys who I think just needed really clean air to be able to do what he needs to do. But Brandon Hinton's got to hold off at least 2 really strong Chargers, another strong Charger, and a Tennant, who has been towards the front as well himself.
Yeah, as we're winding down with 6 laps remaining, will the 43 be able to close the gap on the 27, or will the 68 take away the 43's position?
Honestly, this is the point where you start thinking about, hey, if I get to his rear bumper, do I move him? You know, on that last lap, you don't want to do it too early. You don't want to do it too late. You want to do it right. And, you know, do I move him on the last lap? As Hunter Cox is closing that gap. If he continues at the pace he is, he will be there by the last lap.
Looks like we got the 57 making an unscheduled pit stop. Not for sure. I think he had a little bit of contact with the wall, may have some wheel damage, or he may have spun into the pits. I'll tell you, this 27 car is going to be hard to catch, man. He's been pulling away from the 43 on the exit pretty much every time. Kind of curious to see if the 43 is going to be able to close that gap, or if the 27's got this win in the bag.
But it does look like the 43 has the better entry. Well, not better entry, better corner speed, like middle of corner. Because he's carrying a lot of momentum through there. He's keeping Tom Ringer at bay, and he's all over Brandon Hinton. As he gets really close now, like I said, he's got to start thinking about it. Do I move this guy or do I not? Do I want a friend later on in the playoffs? Or do I want to solidify myself as a race winner here in DES?
Yeah, right. From the outside looking in, the 27 is a playoff driver. I wouldn't necessarily be too aggressive with him. I would race him as clean as I'd race anybody else, but I don't know if I'd get to the point of moving him. I think the 68's kind of laying back to see what the 43 is going to do about it.
And that's smart of the 68. He wants to pay attention to that. I know, as a driver, I'm in it to win it every day. And, you know, I've made the choice. As he gets loose, he loses his momentum. He's out of it.
Oh, doesn't look like the 68's going to be able to capitalize, but the 27 is now up to a full second lead off of the 43.
And that's another risk you got. You know, like I said, some of these guys have never won a race. You know, Brandon Hinton has not won in DES. Hunter Cox has not. Jonathan Green has not. So, you know, the nerves get to you. I know when I came close to my first win, the nerves got to me and I took myself out. And it's another situation of that. You know, his nerves got to him. He forgot his throttle control.
We got a car around, wrecking into the pits. Looks like it's going to stay green. Sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, no, you're good. I know they want... It's Ben Kuhn, too. He was another fast Charger.
Now, the last thing that 27 wants to see is that yellow flag pop up on his screen. As the 43 has now reclosed that gap. He's got a 3/10 lead over the 43 of Hunter Cox. Will he be able to close it as we're winding down? Coming to 1 to go, and white flag is in the air.
White flag is out. He needs to get his quarter entries right. This is the moment. You need to think about moving him out of the way, and that's a problem. But, you know, a race win is kind of really nice.
Oh, he's going to send it into it.
He sent it, but it's not enough. He couldn't touch him. Brandon Hinton gonna come around to win his first race in the Next Gen Series as a playoff driver too.
Yeah, that's awesome to see. We got the 27 of Brandon Hinton finishing in P1, the 43 of Hunter Cox, P2, 68 of Tom Ringer, P3, Jonathan Green, and 4th, and Charles Connor wrapping up your top 5.
Nice rebound night for Charles Connor as he's Christian Clark behind him in P6. That was a great run from those guys as we've got, again, 3 playoff drivers in the top 6. So that was an amazing run for those guys.
Yeah, right. And especially being in the next gens, we don't have stage breaks, so there's no stage points to really worry about. The only thing you're concerned with is the end of race finishings, right? And Brandon Hinton in that 27 definitely proved that he was worthy to be in these playoffs for the Next Gen Series.
Oh, yeah, Brandon Hinton just made a statement here today. First race of the playoffs. He said, I'm going out here to win this championship, and that was amazing.
Yeah, all in all, it was a very good race. We had a good amount of cautions that slowed us down, right? People still figuring out this track. This track is very difficult, although these guys do make it look fairly easy.
Oh, yeah, that was absolutely beautiful to see that as we're going to talk to our P3 finisher who was. It looks like Tom Ringer is kind of chilling with his people right now.
So, we got the 68 of Tom Ringer, man. That was a roller coaster of a race for you. You're really strong to begin with. Got in an incident there towards the end, right? Awesome 3rd place finish. It's good to see you rally. What was your deciding factor of finishing 3rd?
You know, it's real hard to pass. The only way I was going to be able to do it is to get underneath somebody, and I didn't want to push that issue because I've already been wrecked out once. It was a great race. You know, Brandon did a great job.
Was there any point where you were kind of concerned about the race? I know you were caught up in that late race incident. That caused any kind of concern in your mind?
No, I mean that was just a racing thing. They just pushed it a little too hard and came down in front of me. There's nothing I could do. If we didn't have a fast repair, yeah, I would have been upset. But it is what it is. Luckily, I got to come back and get 3rd out of it. So, you know, good race. All in all, good race.
Absolutely, and that's an awesome way to start off your playoff hopes, right? Podium finish. So excellent job here tonight, Tom. It was awesome to see you out there, and good luck in your future races.
Thanks, guys. Had a good one. Thank you, DES.
We got Hunter Cox in here. P2 finish, Hunter Cox.
What's up, guys?
How did that race go for you?
Man, the whole entire race, I was just trying to really be cautious. I knew coming in, me never running the track before, it was going to be a massive learning curve on top of trying to save tires at the same time. And it was a learning curve for sure. And definitely I had a lot of help from a lot of guys. I really appreciate everything DES has done for me, the growth that I have. And on top of that, this is the first time I've ever been on the podium, so I'm really happy for myself.
Yeah, P2 finish is awesome to see out of you, man. You seem like you had a really good car there towards the end. Saw you get loose off of turn 4 and lose a little bit of position. You gained it back, but it doesn't seem to be quite enough to catch back up to that 27 car. What was your biggest factor, right, into pulling up a top 2 finish?
Once I really got to the front, I kind of really started paying attention, trying to make sure I hit my line. Towards the end, I really kind of wanted to start blocking Tom if I had to, but it seemed like coming off of the turns, I had a little bit more traction and speed to take off. And on top of that, running Brandon too, I wasn't in the playoffs. I knew he was, and I really wanted to run him clean. If I'd have got to him, I'd have probably tried to give him a slight bump, just enough to kind of upset his card and maybe get him off of 4. But all in all, I wanted to just try and be very respectful to all the guys, especially the playoff guys, and just kind of make a statement of the amount of time I've been in DES, and I've struggled a lot. And then coming in tonight, I just wanted to make a statement that I'm not a bad driver. I just have bad luck.
Absolutely. Hunter Cox, your second place finisher. Great racing tonight. Looking forward to racing you with your future series, and good luck in the rest of this next gen season.
I appreciate it.
And now we move on to our race winner, Brandon Hinton in the number 27. Brandon, amazing race, man. Absolutely amazing. You started P2, dropped back immediately, then came back, led a bunch of laps, then dropped back again, and then came back to finish strong. What was going through your mind all this race? What were you looking for all this race?
Man, it's a technical track, so it's tough. But man, got my first DES win finally. I've been so close. I've been second so many times. To finally get one done here, it's really special. But yeah, that was a great race. Just have to hit your marks, and it's such a unique track that if you're just off a little bit, there's a couple times I pushed off a 4, and I mean, if you're off just a little bit, and I want to give a shout out to Hunter, keeping me honest. I mean, he came back after getting loose. I think I took it a little too easy those last couple laps when I should have been pushing. But he got back in it, and it was like, oh, I got to get it going again. So, but yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Brandon, I've raced with you in tons of different races in the different leagues that we run here in DES. It's so awesome to see you finally get your first win, man. I know you absolutely deserve it, especially being a playoff driver, right? This is going to set you off to an awesome start. I saw there for a while, you know, when you had the lead, you were just absolutely just putting a clinic on the cars behind you, pulling off to like a 4-second lead. How big were the tire factor in this race?
I would say not as bad. I mean, we were getting cautions early, so you weren't putting a lot of green flag runs on the tires. And what was weird was that I was 45, 50 laps in, and I was running my fastest laps. That's how I was getting out there. And the tire wear wasn't so much. I believe it was like 90, 92 when I finally came and pitted about halfway through. So I was taking care of them. But yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. But yeah, this is a lot of fun, and to do it in the playoffs, that makes it even more special.
You know, Brandon, I've always said this. This is kind of what I stuck to. You're my favorite driver outside of myself. And it was real nice to see you win a race because I've run a lot of races with you. I can't wait to see you put this race on YouTube and see how you showcase this race, man. You ran an amazing race out there, and it's real nice to see you finally notch that first win.
Well, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you saying that. I love this league. I joined it late a season ago, like maybe 2 races in, and I've loved it. I think you guys are heading in the right direction, and I can't wait to see what comes up next.
One more thing before we finish up this interview. Is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Just my wife and 3 sons. I know they're going to be watching when it's on YouTube. So that my team and all you guys that do what you guys do for us every weekend. So I really appreciate it.
Everyone, Brandon Hinton in that 27 car, putting on an absolute clinic, finishing in P1, starting his playoff off correct and right. Great job by him. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I hope everybody has a great night.
Thank you for coming to watch this wonderful race, man. Hunter, it's always a pleasure to broadcast with you. Your skills are next to no one, man. It was amazing. Can't wait for the next race in the Next Gen Series. We're going to have a great time broadcasting it. We're going to have a great time showcasing what you are.